Before I get into this video and tell you why this particular series of games is my personal favorite, I want to ask you that question. What game or series of games is your personal favorite and why? And do any of the reasons that I go over in this video match any of the reasons why that game is your favorite or that series is your favorite? So, Resident Evil, or could I say it in the video game voice? Resident Evil. Yeah, that wasn't that bad. Resident Evil has obviously been around since the 90s, and I can honestly say that it is one of, if not my absolute favorite series of games to play. I can remember as a kid, 12, 13 years old, and I would go to Blockbuster on the weekend. Yes, Blockbuster. Oh, the good old days, right? I guess, maybe. But anyway, I would go to Blockbuster, and I would convince my parents to let me rent the PlayStation. Because back in those days, you could go to Blockbuster and you could actually rent a system. It was like $100 deposit, and you could rent the system for 2 or 3 days, whatever it was. And I would always get Resident Evil, because back then too I had a subscription to GamePro magazine, and I'd seen all these articles about Resident Evil, and some of my other friends had GamePro magazines, and so the fun would begin. So we'd get the PlayStation home. It came in this really nice case and everything, and you'd set it up and you could play it, and you fire up Resident Evil, and what an experience it was. By now everyone knows the premise of the game, being in the mansion, being surrounded by zombies and mutated dogs and all kinds of nightmarish creatures. Little ammo, little bit of health, and you're pretty much on your own. That was an experience for me that at that point up to in my gaming career, my gaming life, if you will, there was nothing else like it. I mean, I'm sure maybe there were other experiences similar to that on the PC. I've never been much of a big PC gamer. But as far as Nintendo or Sega or anything like that, which was the norm back then, really before the PlayStation hit the market, there was no other games like that. And the other thing that really got me going was the fact that my friends and we were all scared to the point where we'd really only try to play it during the day. My house, the house I grew up in, was a big 2-story house, and it was old and it made a lot of noises similar to the house in the game. I had dogs, and just the whole feeling, the whole ambiance that the game, immersed you in, playing it at night, playing it in the dark, you're scared. I've never really played any scary games like that, so it was just an amazing experience. Throughout the years, all the sequels and spin-offs and everything, I mean, Resident Evil has provided so much fun, so many entertaining games. Yeah, I know, punching boulders and driving motorcycles into a helicopter and things like that, kind of got away from, the survival horror bit that Resident Evil made famous, made popular. But, I can't necessarily blame them for wanting to try something different. And they listened. They listened to the audience feedback. With the last year's release of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, the game went back to the survival horror and added in the first person aspect, which made the game even more intense and terrifying at times with certain jump scares, which I know are cheap, but it was still an amazing game. And I for one am chomping at the bit for the release of the Resident Evil 2 remake, which is probably one of my favorite games of all time. I played through that game so many different times, as Leon and as Claire, and the different scenarios within the game. That preview, that Sony dropped of the Resident Evil 2 remake got me so pumped up. I can't wait. So, let me know what you all think. Again, what is your favorite game? What's your favorite video game series? And why? Did you ever go out to Blockbuster and rent a Sony PlayStation or whatever other kind of system they may have had for rent at the time? Let us know down in the comments below. This is Kurt from Same Differences. Thanks for watching.